The sun was setting over the savanna, casting a warm orange glow over the grasslands. The air was filled with the sweet scent of acacia trees and the gentle hum of crickets. In a clearing surrounded by tall trees, a lion lay sleeping, his mane a fiery halo in the fading light. His name was Kibo, and he was the king of the savanna. Kibo's fur was a deep golden brown, and his paws were as big as plates. He was a gentle giant, loved by all the creatures of the savanna. As he slept, his chest rose and fell with a gentle rhythm, like the waves of a calm sea. The wind rustled through the leaves of the trees, whispering secrets to the sleeping lion. In a nearby thicket, a tiny mouse named Tattoo was busy collecting berries for her dinner. She was a quick and nimble creature, with a coat as gray as the stones that dotted the savanna. Tattoo's eyes shone like bright beads in the fading light, and her little nose twitched as she sniffed out the ripest berries. She was a curious and adventurous mouse, always exploring and discovering new things. As the stars began to twinkle in the night sky, Tattoo settled down in her cozy nest of leaves and grasses. She wrapped her tail around her like a blanket and closed her eyes, listening to the sounds of the savanna at night. The crickets sang their lullaby, and the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of blooming flowers. Kibo stirred in his sleep, his ears perked up as he heard the distant roar of a waterfall. He smiled to himself, remembering the cool waters and the shady trees that grew along its banks. He had spent many a hot day lounging in the shade, watching the water cascade over the rocks. As he drifted back to sleep, he felt the warmth of the sun on his fur, and the softness of the grass beneath him. The night deepened, and the savanna grew quieter. The stars shone brighter, casting a silver glow over the landscape. Tattoo slept soundly, her belly full of berries and her heart full of joy. Kibo slept too, his dreams filled with visions of the savanna and its creatures. The wind rustled through the trees, whispering a gentle lullaby to the sleeping lion and the tiny mouse. In the distance, a soft hooting sound echoed through the night air. An owl perched in a tall tree, watching over the savanna with wise eyes. She saw Kibo and Tattoo sleeping, and she smiled to herself. She knew that they would have a special encounter soon, one that would change their lives forever. But for now, they slept, surrounded by the peaceful sounds of the savanna at night. The owl spread her wings, and took to the sky, flying silently over the grasslands, a guardian of the night. The owl flew over the savanna, her wings beating softly as she scanned the landscape below. She saw the shadows of antelopes grazing in the distance, and the silhouettes of trees swaying in the breeze. The moon was rising, casting a silver glow over the grasslands, and the owl felt at peace. She had lived in the savanna for many years, watching over its creatures and keeping them safe from harm. As she flew, the owl noticed a small stream running through the heart of the savanna. The water sparkled like diamonds in the moonlight, and the owl could hear the gentle gurgling of the current. She flew down to investigate, and saw that the stream was lined with tall reeds and water lilies. The air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the owl felt a sense of calm wash over her. The owl perched on a branch overhanging the stream, watching as the water flowed gently by. She saw a family of otters playing in the shallows, their fur glistening in the moonlight. The otters chased each other, laughing and splashing in the water, and the owl smiled to herself. She loved watching the creatures of the savannah, and she felt grateful to be a part of their world. As the night wore on, the owl took to the skies once more, flying over the savannah and watching over its creatures. She saw Kibbo and Tattoo sleeping, and she felt a sense of peace knowing that they were safe. She flew over the grasslands, feeling the wind rushing past her wings, and the moon shining down on her feathers. The owl felt free, and she loved the feeling of soaring through the night sky. As she flew, the owl noticed a figure walking through the grasslands. It was a young giraffe, her coat a soft brown and her eyes shining in the moonlight. The giraffe was walking slowly, her long neck bending as she searched for leaves to eat. The owl watched as the giraffe reached out with her tongue, plucking a juicy leaf from a tall tree. The giraffe chewed slowly, savoring the taste of the leaf, and the owl felt a sense of calm wash over her. The giraffe walked on, her hooves quiet on the grass. She came to a clearing, and saw Kibbo sleeping in the distance. The giraffe approached slowly, not wanting to disturb the lion. She saw Tattoo's nest, and she smiled to herself. The giraffe had met Tattoo before, and she loved the little mouse's curious spirit. The giraffe lay down in the grass, watching over Kibbo and Tattoo as they slept. The night wore on, and the savannah grew quieter. The stars shone brighter, and the moon rose higher in the sky. The owl flew back to her tree, settling in for the rest of the night. The giraffe slept, watching over Kibbo and Tattoo, and the creatures of the savannah slept peacefully, surrounded by the gentle sounds of the night. The wind rustled through the trees, whispering a soft lullaby to the sleeping creatures, and the savannah was filled with a deep and abiding peace. The night air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming flowers, and the sound of crickets provided a soothing background hum. The giraffe lay quietly, her long neck bent as she rested her head on the grass. She watched over Kibbo and Tattoo, her eyes slowly closing as she drifted off to sleep. The owl, perched in her tree, felt a sense of contentment wash over her. She had watched over the creatures of the savannah for many years, and she knew that they were safe and happy. As the night wore on, the savannah grew quieter. The wind rustled through the trees, whispering a soft lullaby to the sleeping creatures. The stars shone brighter, and the moon rose higher in the sky. The owl's eyes grew heavy, and she settled in for a well-deserved rest. She wrapped her wings around her, feeling the softness of her feathers and the warmth of the night air. In the distance, a small bird sang a soft melody. The bird's song was like a gentle stream, flowing smoothly and peacefully. The owl listened, her ears perked up, and she felt a sense of calm wash over her. The bird's song was a lullaby, sung to the creatures of the savannah as they slept. The song was soft and soothing, and it filled the night air with a sense of peace and tranquility. As the bird finished its song, the savannah fell silent. The wind stopped rustling through the trees, and the crickets ceased their chirping. The stars shone brightly, and the moon cast a silver glow over the grasslands. The owl felt a sense of stillness wash over her, and she knew that the night had reached its deepest point. The creatures of the savannah were all asleep, surrounded by the peaceful sounds of the night. In the silence, the owl felt a sense of connection to the natural world. She felt a sense of oneness with the trees, the grass, and the creatures of the savannah. She knew that she was a part of something much larger than herself, something beautiful and peaceful. The owl's eyes grew heavy, and she drifted off to sleep, surrounded by the stillness of the night. The giraffe, Kibo, and Tattoo all slept peacefully, surrounded by the quiet of the savannah. The wind was still, the trees were motionless, and the stars shone brightly in the sky. The moon cast a silver glow over the grasslands, and the night air was filled with a sense of peace and tranquility. The creatures of the savannah were all asleep, and the night was at its most still. As the night wore on, the silence deepened. The savannah was filled with a sense of calm, and the creatures of the savannah slept peacefully. The owl, the giraffe, Kibo, and Tattoo all rested, surrounded by the quiet of the night. The stars shone brightly, and the moon cast a silver glow over the grasslands. The night air was filled with a sense of peace, and the savannah was at rest. The silence was deep and profound, and it filled the night air with a sense of stillness and calm.